Welcome back to another race, you guys. My name is Tyler, and tonight is night number 2 of the World of Outlaws return to the Husets Speedway in Brandon, South Dakota. Last night, on night number 1, David Gravel picked up the win, getting by Donny Schatz early on and picking up a $10,000 paycheck in a 35-lap feature. Tonight, we go 15 more laps around the Husets Speedway in a 50-lap feature for $30,000 in the conclusion to the Husets 50 before we go over to Jackson Motorplex later this week to wrap up 5 races in 6 nights with the World of Outlaws. Unbelievable action so far in the 2021 season. We're 34 races into the season, and Brad Sweet is still on top of the point standings. Last night, finished inside of the top 5 behind a race win for David Gravel, and David closes ever so slightly in on the big cat Brad Sweet in that points chase. CARSON MACEDO started in the middle of the pack, and unfortunately the track rubbered up in the middle of the race and didn't really get to advance his spot. He finished in the middle of the pack, slide back a little bit, but is still in third. Donny Schatz with another podium finish, was going for his second win in 2021 in just under a week, finished in second behind David Gravel, and Kerry Madsen also finished on the podium as well, but Donny slides into 4th ahead of Sheldon Haudenschild, who's in 5th coming into tonight. So let's get right into it, you guys. Night number 2 of the World of Outlaws action at the Husets Speedway. Let's go. 41 cars at the track tonight, going to be flights in qualifying tonight. Always going to be interesting when you come into a brand new night of racing with the World of Outlaws, a brand new draw. Got to be fast every time you're on the track. We're going to have probably 4 heat races tonight. Again, top 2 are going to transfer to the dash and start in the front of the field. Qualifying tonight was really interesting as the track really didn't go away at all throughout qualifying. The fastest overall in flight number 1 would be the number 11 of Spencer Baston after hopping in that car last week on the All-Star Tour and then coming over to the World of Outlaws. He has been really fast here recently, was good last night, finished in the middle of the pack, but sets the overall fastest time in flight number 1. And then we'd go to flight number 2. Guys like CARSON MACEDO would go out early and set a blazing pace for flight number 2. Donny Schatz was in there as well. Kerry Madsen at the top of the leaderboard yet again. But then the last car out in flight number 2 and last car out in qualifying tonight is the number 1S of Logan Scchuchart, and he sets the overall quick time on the night. The top 4 in each of the flights will start on the front row of their heat race. Going to be so important to finish in the top 2 spots to put yourself on the front 4 rows of tonight's main event. Let's get right into heat race action. Heat race number 1 had Linton Jeffrey and Spencer Baston starting on the front row, and at the start, Linton jumps it and is penalized a row. We'd have a double foul restart. Brad Sweet was initially set to start in 3rd place, but he gets moved to the outside of the front row, and on the start, Brad takes off and is on rails, winning by 1.5 seconds over a 2nd place Spencer Baston. Those guys will go to the dash. Finishing in 3rd was Linton Jeffrey. David Gravel started in the 5th spot and finished in 4th, and he'll have to come from the middle of the pack tonight in order to repeat and win $30,000 tonight. And your final transfer in heat race number 1 was Gio Selzy. Missing out on transfers and going to the B main tonight will be World of Outlaw regulars Wayne Johnson and Brock Zierfoss. Heat race number 2 had Sheldon Haudenschild and Aaron Reitzel starting side by side on the front row, and they would finish that way. But with 3 laps to go, it was getting really close. With 3 cars under a blanket, getting into lap traffic, Kyle Larson was closing in on Sheldon Haudenschild, but can't get by him, and he'll finish in 3rd and miss out on the dash. Aaron Reitzel picks up the win after a disastrous finish last night. He finished second to last night in the feature. He looks to bounce back tonight and put the number 83 Roth Motorsports back in victory lane for some big money at Husets Speedway. Also transferring in was Jacob Allen finishing in 5th, Austin McCarl finishing in 4th, and finishing in 3rd was Young Money Kyle Larson. Your quick timer on the night was Logan Scchuchart, and the speed carries over to his heat race. He wins big, running about a 1/10 of a second slower than he was in qualifying tonight at a 10.6. He was running in the 10.7, 10.8 tonight, setting a blazing pace in heat race number 3 and wins big over James McFadden, who got together with Kerry Madsen on lap 1. Kerry ultimately came home in the 3rd place spot, and the guy that has been on a roll recently, Kerry Madsen, with an average finish of 3.5 in the last 8 races with the World of Outlaws, has to start a little bit deeper in the field to keep up his streak of consistent finishes for TSR in that number 14 team. Also transferring in was Ian Madsen and Shane Gullibic. And then heat race number 4 had 2 guys that were really fast early on in flight number 2, Donny Schatz and CARSON MACEDO starting side by side on the front row, and CARSON MACEDO picks up the win in heat race number 4 and goes to the dash. Joining him will be Donny Schatz. These guys start in the front 4 rows of tonight's main event and will go to the dash. Also getting into tonight's feature will be Craig Kinzer. He finished in 3rd, and then we had a battle for the final transfer spot. Justin Henderson holds off Tim Kading to get into tonight's feature, finishing in 5th, and PPM Parker Price Miller comes home in 4th. The B main would be 12 laps, and starting on the front row would be Wayne Johnson. He would get out to the early lead, but with 5 laps in the book, Tim Kading is running in a transfer spot, looking to get into tonight's main event after missing it last night, gets sideways up over the cushion in front of Brock Zierfoss and Matt Jewell, and they are all collected. They would not make it back out. Lachlan McHugh also would have damage in his night as well. On the restart, Corey Eliason, who had been chasing down Wayne Johnson to get into tonight's main event and win the B main, would get by Wayne Johnson on the restart and pick up the win. Nearly gave it away in the closing laps with Wayne Johnson closing in on him after Corey got into the wall, but Corey hangs on. Brian Brown will also get into tonight's main event, and coming to the line, Matt Jewell and CARSON MACEDO were battling for that final transfer spot, and the points leader at Husets Speedway coming into the weekend was CARSON MACEDO. He gets into the 50-lap feature tonight. And then we'd have the dash, and the guy who's been quick all night was Logan Schchuchart, picking up the quick time award on the night and a win in his heat race, but he draws the last row in the dash and finishes in 8th spot, and Logan will have to come from the 8th spot tonight in the 50-lap feature. Starting next to him will be Logan Schchuchart. Starting right in front of them will be the points leader in the 2021 World of Outlaw points standings, the big cat Brad Sweet. Brad has always been known in these big races to run the bottom and get the job done and pick up some big money wins. Look for Brad to be up front all night long and continue his dominance of the World of Outlaws in 2021. CARSON MACEDO, who is currently 3rd in points, had a struggle last night, finished in the middle of the pack and kind of slipped back in the points. He's currently in 3rd, 100 points out of the lead, but starting in front of both David Gravel, who's buried in the feature tonight, and then Brad Sweet. Look for CARSON to stay up front in the number 41 JJR car. And starting on the front row, he started on the pole of the dash, but finished in 2nd, is the 10-time World of Outlaws champion, Donny Schatz. Donny used to be a regular at Husets and knows his way around there. And with a 50-lap feature, that gives Donny plenty of time to search around and find the fastest way around the track. He'll start on the outside of the front row, but the guy starting on the pole tonight after huge disastrous struggles last night for that 83 car, Aaron Reitzel, started on the outside of the front row in the dash and picks up the win, and he'll start on the pole of the inaugural Husets 50 laps tonight, $30,000 on the line. Definitely going to be watching guys like LYLE Larson, who missed out on dash spots, and David Gravel, who is 2nd in the World of Outlaw point standings right now, charging forward in this one, but going to be an unbelievable race. Let's get right into it. 50 laps, and the World of Outlaws return to the Husets Speedway. On the start, Donny Schatz rips the top around Aaron Reitzel into turn number 1 and takes the lead. Heading down the front stretch to complete lap number 1, Aaron Reitzel and CARSON MACEDO are running side by side, and CARSON jumps over his left rear, flipping wildly into turn number 1 and up into the catch fence. CARSON's car was destroyed, to say the least. He rolls on all fours by a push truck pushing him to the work area. Teams are thrashing all over the place. They had some extra time due to the fence that they were repairing in turn number 1, and CARSON MACEDO gets pushed back out onto the speedway and will go to the tail. What an amazing start to the 50-lap feature. Aaron Reitzel regains the pole start as we didn't complete an entire lap. On the restart, Aaron Reitzel would get a much better start and heads out to the lead with Donny Schatz and J-Mac right behind him. 5 laps in the books, and everybody is around the bottom as we close in on lap traffic. Reitzel moves to the top around Brian Brown to put him a lap down, but then the red flag comes out again. Linton Jeffrey, who is running in 12th, gets upside down, and Jacob Allen, who was running in 17th, spins and brings out another red flag with just 6 laps in the books. On the restart, Aaron takes off again as Brad and Sheldon Haudenschild battle for the 5th place spot. 10 laps in the books, and we close in on lap traffic again. Aaron setting a torrid pace, still running the bottom all the way around the track. Aaron's about 1.5 seconds in front of Donny Schatz, who's running in 2nd. 15 laps in the books, and Aaron Reitzel is looking to get around CARSON MACEDO to put him a lap down. Donny's still running in 2nd, J-Mac is in 3rd, and Brad Sweet is in 4th. David Gravel and LYLE Larson battle for the 10th place spot with 15 laps in the books. 20 laps in the books, and KKR teammates J-Mac and Brad Sweet battle for a 3rd place spot, about 1 second behind Donny Schatz and Aaron Reitzel. Donny's staying right with Aaron Reitzel in traffic. It's still pretty much around the bottom at this point, but the track is really starting to work its way up, and the top is definitely coming in with about 25 laps to go. We close in on the break that was planned for the open red. Brad Sweet and Donny Schatz are battling for that 2nd place spot behind Aaron Reitzel, and Haudenschild and J-Mac are battling for 5th. Haudenschild gets into 4th right before the red comes out, so he'll restart in 4th. J-Mac will be 5th. Brad Sweet will restart in 3rd, and Donny Schatz in 2nd, with Aaron Reitzel still leading the way. He's led every lap so far in the main event. Open red with 20 laps to go was announced in the drivers meeting, and this would give crews a chance to make any changes at all to the car. This includes changing a right rear tire, maybe adding a different shock on, or adding fuel to the car, whatever they needed to do to get their car dialed in for the final 20 laps, and it would do wonders for a lot of guys. Logan Schchuchart had some blistered tires when he came into the pits. He's running in the top 10 and looking to stay up front. Sheldon Haudenschild was saying that he was about to head to the top, so look for him to be ripping the top after the red flag. He's going to be chasing down Donny Schatz and Brad Sweet, as everybody is still chasing Aaron Reitzel, who has led the way so far in the feature. On the restart, Aaron takes off again as Brad Sweet and Donny Schatz battle for 2nd, trying to keep pace with him as we're headed into lap traffic really quickly. Kerry Madsen is up into the 7th place spot, battling with LYLE Larson. 15 laps to go. Aaron Reitzel is in heavy lap traffic, and Brad and Donny close up on him. We got 3 cars under a blanket as we're stuck in lap traffic. Aaron would throw some sliders on lap traffic and get by them a lot better than Donnie and Brad were. Donnie and Brad would battle side by side through lap traffic, and Aaron takes off. With 8 laps to go, Aaron Reitzel is now out in front by about a second and a half over Donnie Schatz and Brad Sweet, who continue their battle for second. 5 laps to go, and CARSON MACEDO, after flipping early on in the race, is now up to 13th spot. With 3 laps to go, Brad Sweet had gotten by Donnie Schatz and was starting to chase down Aaron Reitzel. Got it to about a second, but just could not close in. Ripping the top, Aaron Reitzel heads for the white flag. We're headed to the white flag. Kyle Larson slides into the top 5, and then Sheldon Haudenschild's running in 4th. Donnie Schatz is holding on to 3rd. Brad Sweet's in 2nd, and we're coming around to the white flag. Aaron Reitzel rips the top. Coming to the checkered flag, Aaron Reitzel in the number 83 for Roth Motorsports picks up a $30,000 paycheck, the biggest win of the season so far for Aaron Reitzel. This is his 3rd win of the season and the first time that he's won since Williams Grove. He won earlier on in the season at East Bay, but it has been a trying struggle of a season for the number 83 team. Every single time that they seem to get on track, they get back off track. He slides up in the points, he slides back into the points. But this should be a huge shot in the arm for that team as we head into the heaviest part of the season. We've got some great races coming up. So that wraps up Husets Speedway for the World of Outlaws. They won't be back until later on in the season for a one-night special. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and stay tuned for more great content. And as always, you guys, stay dirty.